Just hopping back in, gonna repick everything we had from the draft in game one. If you guys are just joining us, it's Champions of Summer's Rift taking on For the Dream quarterfinals of your North America TI5 Open Qualifiers powered by Face It. We are MRP and GrandisV, HeflaTV, your English coverage. Hopefully we can get this one underway. Winner moves on to face Unknown in the first best of three in the semifinals in the NA qualifiers.
Yeah, and it should be a pretty entertaining one if we could ever get this game off of the ground. But looks like everybody's picked up the correct heroes, and we should be able to load in shortly. Hopefully without any further delays. For the Dream apparently had some sort of ping issues the first time around, and we'll just have to see if they're any better this time. It's always the problem when you're dealing with NA versus South American teams. There's just not a good server for it at all.
Yeah, so a little bit of an unfortunate crossover there, but either way, fresh server, and we'll hope that everything runs smoothly for this one. Should be a pretty good matchup. For the Dream have taken on some decent opponents thus far, but certainly, as mentioned earlier, Summer's Rift looking to be the favorites. We'll hop right back in, reintroduce the lineups for you guys. We got Dragon Fist for the dire side, Summer's Rift taken towards the mid lane on that Storm Spirit. My name is Jeff, or Whitebeard, on the Wyvern, Brax, Sax on the Nyx Assassin, and that's going to leave Jimmy, or Demon, on that Visage with BSJ, Banana Slam Jam, picking up the draw.
And to reintroduce the For the Dream side, Queen of Pain is going to be leading charge, played by TY. Phantom Lights are handled by Batman, Bakuri on the Bloodseeker, 5 A's on the Skarath Mage, and Shirogami on the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, it looks like the Radiant side looking to secure the top rune for their Queen of Pain. She has gone for the Null Talisman, so no Bottle Rush going to be inked for this Queen of Pain, looking to secure an advantage mid lane, and certainly can do so up against the Storm Spirit. A little bit of Gimp range for him early on. As you mentioned, Lina probably would have fared a little bit better for Summer's Rift here, but Storm Spirit should be okay. They can bring in some rotation coming up from the Wyvern if need be to throw out a little bit of Arctic Burn, maybe harass that TY Queen of Pain down. Other than that, things looking pretty standard for the early game.
I actually quite like the Queen of Pain has a full set of tangos instead of opting for the 2 branches that the Storm Spirit had. This is going to allow the Queen of Pain to trade a little bit more aggressively against the Storm and might require that rotation that you were talking about. Top bounty rune is going to be sat upon. I don't think there's going to be any contention, but they actually give it to the Bloodseeker instead. Is this an offlane Queen of Pain and a mid Bloodseeker?
Well, that actually seems to be the configuration. He's gone for a Poor Man's Shield and has been pulled 2 tangos, so seems like Bakuri is going to take towards that mid lane, and historically, Storm Spirit does pretty damn well against melee heroes, so maybe a little bit better for Dragon Fist in this matchup. He also got a pretty damn good block off for himself.
Yeah, I think this does favor the Storm Spirit by quite a bit, especially if Storm Spirit gets his hands onto a stick. Every time you cast the Q, which is almost mandatory for the Bloodseeker, you do get a charge, which is really nice to have as the Storm. Maybe worth the 200 gold investment. Up towards top, the Queen of Pain is probably going to fare a little bit better than the Bloodseeker would in the offlane, so that is, as always, the trade-off.
Yeah, it's probably the smarter decision, but it does give, as you mentioned, a little bit more space to that Storm Spirit to find some farm. Brax is going to be a member of this aggressive duel for now with the Wyvern 2v3 lane in bottom, and with all the physical damage coming out from the side of the Radiant, it seems like with that Cold Embrace, I don't know that they have the kill potential on either of these heroes.
Yeah, honestly, you say aggressive. I'm not sure how aggressive this duo can be, but at the very least, it secures a better time for the Nyx Assassin with a little bit of defensive support and cover fire from the Wyvern. Things get a lot better for Brax, where usually he'd have a pretty abysmal time.
Yeah, last game on his Phoenix, Brax absolutely playing out of his mind. TY trading a lot top lane with Jimmy. Is going to have to blink out. Does have a lot of regen, as you mentioned, available to him, but Jimmy still has a salve here for Demon. He is spotted out, of course, by the Thirst from the Bloodseeker. And that's giving Bakuri a little bit of MS mid lane, but should be able to salve up here. Does do so, and TY a little bit of trouble. Does have the blink, though. No hard disable unless they land that gust coming out from BSJ. So TY should be fine, but is heavily zoned out at the moment.
Everybody on the side of FTD dropping very low. Bloodseeker and Storm Spirit got into a bit of a slugfest. Storm Spirit coming out on top. It's really a tense situation at the moment where there could be kills in multiple lanes.
Yep, Brax and Whitebeard, though, faring very well. Bottom rune secured by 5 A's, but he's not going to give it over to his mid laner just now. It is double damage rune, and he's a little bit too low to trade mid lane. TY rotating in to try and chase out Dragon Fist, and the Skywrath coming from the east, but really much too low to get underneath that tower.
Yeah, taking just one tower shot would probably end up giving a kill to the Storm Spirit, and that kill would have been first blood too. The Queen of Pain's going to apply a little bit of pressure, so get some cover fire for the Bloodseeker, but a lot of time is being utilized by FTD, and they're not getting much in return. If you take a look at the CS department for the Drow, Storm, and Nyx, they're all leading the chart. The only one that's comparable is the Phantom Lancer down towards bottom. The mid lane and the off lane are both having a pretty poor time.
Yeah, and Dragonfist well aware of the movements of TY as well. He pinged that Queen of Pain going up towards the high ground behind him, and with no Scream, I don't really know that they had the potential to bring down that Storm Spirit unless he gets under the tower and turns it on them. So TY did have to rotate back to base, and free and clear top lane for BSJ for now. Farming, as you mentioned, is topping the CS board. Batman holding his own, though, in his safe lane tri-lane. 12 CS to the PL.
Yeah, fair enough. And to be fair, Bloodseeker is also holding his own versus the Storm Spirit, but I don't think he comes online as hard as the Storm. Once you get level 6 on the Bloodseeker, maybe you can make a rotation happen, but it's not really comparable towards the power that Ball Lightning gives.
Yep, Brack's going to be able to get over to that side shop. He's got the PMS up. Very, very valuable item on the Nyx with that base 5 armor. He's looking pretty good. Or not base, but at level 3-5 armor. Looking very good. Arctic Burn going to come out from the Wyvern. He's just going to spread this amongst all the heroes. Brack's getting pretty low. He does have the Carapace, though, and that's going to bring AAA, or quintuple A, very low. And First Blood going the way of Summer's Rift in their 2v3 lane.
Skarath Mage, whenever he gets into those melee fistfights, just doesn't work out for him at all. If he was able to keep his distance and his position was a little bit better, maybe FTD could have even secured First Blood themselves, but yeah, Summer's Rift get a pretty big advantage, and honestly, I haven't seen an Nyx Assassin have this good a time in quite a while, actually. He is splitting experience with the Winter Wyvern, but he's applying a decent amount of pressure to the Phantom Lancer, and getting a lot of farm for himself is the bigger issue. Now with First Blood, and also farming reasonably at 17 and 4.
Yeah, and conveniently enough, he picked up a regen rune as well at the 4-minute mark. They did jump in onto Dragon Fist, but the TPs are inbound. The Cold Embrace, or the Visage, is coming through as well. And they do turn it on to TY. TY not doing very well in his lane, trying to rotate over to the mid, but Dragon Fist a little bit too survivable with that bottle up and the null tally. And he finds a nice kill. 3-0 now is your score as they bring down the Witch Doctor bot lane. And Batman left all by his lonesome. And the cooldown's coming up now for Brax as well. No Doppelganger on this PL yet.
This is really scary. They put the Blood Rage on the Storm Spirit, and that was really their undoing in the mid lane. He barely won the trade, and they lose their Phantom Lancer in bottom and the Skarath Mage in mid to a Soul Assumption. They are going to lose Demon in return as Bloodseeker does strike back there, but 1-5 the kill score as Summer's Rift are pulling ahead in a pretty big way. Brax is now almost at that level 6 mark.
Yeah, TP's inbound bot lane. 2 TPs. I'm going to come through from the Radiant side. That's going to back out Brax, but doing very well in this off lane is the Nyx, as you mentioned. Him and Wyvern both eclipsing that level 5 mark just now, and the Winter's Curse, as you mentioned, going to be a very useful ability in terms of its utility for the Dire side. That's coming out soon. The Vendetta as well to come out, and with this Witch Doctor only at level 3, he's going to be hard-pressed to find anything in the jungle without Brax on his tail.
Oh, for sure. At the moment, the Witch Doctor is pretty much in one-shot kill territory, or at least one combo kill from the Nyx Assassin. Impel Vendetta hit and Mana Burn on top of that's the end of his life. He needs to be so very scared. He has 1 sentry on his person, but that's not enough to cover the whole woods. And similar for the Skarath Mage, with such a high mana pool, that Mana Burn, even at only level 1, does so much damage.
Yep, mid lane looking pretty good for Summer's Rift as well. Bakuri, as you mentioned, is holding his own in terms of CS, but a couple of rotations committed over from TY to no avail for the Radiant side. Queen of Pain still managed to pick up her level 5 here, but 2-1-2 build thus far doesn't really have that burst potential with 3 levels in the Scream of Pain yet, so don't know how much she can commit now that the Ball Lightning is available to Dragon Fist.
Yeah, it's a really scary game to be the Queen of Pain. Whenever you blink aggressively into the enemy team, you're probably going to end up dying, and I think TY just needs a little bit more time to marinate to get those levels up. Down towards bottom, Impale going to connect onto Batman, but just casual harass coming out from Brax. Flexing his muscles, if he had his Vendetta and maybe had the Wyvern still there, could have possibly gone for that kill with just a little bit of extra damage from Splinter Blast.
Yeah, definitely a potential kill there. TY going to do some scouting onto Jimmy, and actually with the Shadow Strike has brought him pretty low. The Thirst is there for the Vision as well. Couple more right clicks to blink. Not available for another 5 seconds, but the Shadow Strike will tick down Demon. And finally, TY going to find himself a solo kill. Mid lane, though, they're diving deep. They find the Bloodseeker, and the Storm Spirit will fall shortly thereafter, but picking up his experience. It does give a little bit over to the Skarath Mage, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a small consolation. Across the map, however, it's going to be FTD to get the slight edge when it comes to those kills. Queen of Pain getting that kill onto Visage is pretty surprising to me. Usually, if I'm playing, I'd be screaming my Draw Ranger to come and deny me. It was a situation where that was mandatory.
Yeah, bot lane, Brax trying to man up against the PL and Shiragami, but will be forced back as the Maledict's starting to tick down on him. Does have his Vendetta available. Batman has a Doppelganger on cooldown, however, and Brax is well aware that it's used, but not willing to dive the tower just yet, with the Voodoo Restoration being there as well. He will have TP rotations in from the Storm Spirit, though, and Dragon Fist definitely capable of bringing down this PL along with Brax's help. He's been pinged out, though, by the Radiant side, and they're backing the PL into the trees. Dragon Fist gonna guess to the left, uses a Spirit to try and find some vision, and will find Batman here. He's being healed up by the Voodoo Restoration, but just a couple of right clicks and the mana burn enough to bring him down. The Rupture is onto the Storm Spirit, probably not the most ideal target for it, but he will be brought down here shortly after. Brax, under the cover of Vendetta, is hiding in the tree line. TY jumping forward to try and find the Wyvern, will find it as well, and overall it's gonna be a 2 for 2. And the PL going to trade for the Storm Spirit supports other than that. But considering their position, I think FTD are willing to take that trade.
Yeah, I think it's fairly even in that exchange, but the big difference is that they have to rotate pretty much everybody down towards the bottom lane. And then you have Banana Slim Jamma up towards top, farming it away on the Draw Ranger, almost at drums, treads, and Aquila, ready to fight for this early game. He's currently topping the net worth chart, and FTT are slowly but surely falling behind with pretty much all of their heroes because of the necessity of these rotations.
Yeah, definitely so, and space has been found for the supports for Summer's Rift side. All the supports currently sitting at level 4 and above, but both level 5 and 6 for the Visage and Wyvern respectively. So things looking good as the familiars are going to be picked up here shortly. Demon going down there earlier on, going to stifle his progression towards that a little bit, but the PL is pretty much dirt poor at this point, already having 2 deaths for Batman, and really can't stand up in lane against this Nyx Assassin and the harass coming out from the Arctic Burn and this Winter Blast.
Yeah, it's really annoying. Winter Wyvern's a great hero to have up against PL, and once he does get Diffusal Blade or that level 6 at the bare minimum for Batman, he can get his Illusion Army turned against him very quickly by Jeff. It's a pretty scary situation to be in if you're FTD. They need more time for this Phantom Lancer. They need more time for this Queen of Pain. Although she has found herself level 8, and that's good and all, the only hero that she can really partner with is the Bloodseeker. So I'd like to see them get active around the map and try to make that space, although it is very difficult.
Yeah, perhaps they add the Skywrath into that tandem as well. The Mystic... the Ancient Seal buffing up the magic damage of the Queen of Pain as well. Could net them a kill, but Storm Spirit really elusive in that mid lane unless they're able to get off that Ancient Seal, and with only the boots and no smoke, doubt that's going to be the case. Brax stalking mid lane under the cover of Vendetta as well. No one showing themselves though, as perhaps this Radiant Ward over by the safe lane was able to scout out Brax's rotations.
This early game going quite well for the Champions of Summer's Rift. They're getting a lot of advantage, mostly just due to farming efficiency. Upwards of 5,000 net worth lead and 3,000 experience lead. Zipboy in mid lane, going to keep the Storm Spirits safe. Unless they get an Ancient Seal onto him, actually killing off the Storm is very difficult. Up towards top, similar story for the Queen of Pain. Unless you get the Gust, she's able to blink out pretty freely. Some tense situations on pretty much all of these lanes.
Yeah.
Brax is a menace down towards bottom, and they do have the Winter's Curse up and running.
Yeah, and they're able to put a lot of chip damage into this tower, and once they're able to bring that down, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Batman to jungle this early on, only with the Hatchet and the Bassi. They're going to use the Winter's Curse onto him. The Impale goes as well with the Mana Burn, the Arctic Burn, taking him down. He will be able to Doppelganger up, but Brax using that Vendetta, guesses right, and will bring down the PL for the 3rd time already in this matchup. He will be able to buy out a Diffusal Blade recipe, but it's going to be a long time before he's able to put that to work. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're going in onto Whitebeard, but he's pretty safe under the tower. They do bring down the Storm Spirit in the meantime, though.
The Storm Spirit kill is pretty big for FTD, but they're going to lose their Queen of Pain. Return gusted up in 3 shots from BSJ. Is going to be enough for Summer's Rift to tie up that trade in mid for the most part. But yeah, the Phantom Lancer's the biggest weakness at the moment for FTD. He's currently farming slower than the Winter Wyvern, and Phantom Lancer, although he farms reasonably quickly, not when he has this bad of a start, and not when this Nyx Assassin can pretty much solo him.
Yeah, and the Blink Dagger's available for Brax as well now, so he can get even more aggressive across the map. Longer range of initiation available to him. Doppelganger only being at level 1 is a massive cooldown, so if they can bait that out, Batman is very vulnerable. He's already used it here bot lane, and he had to use it to dodge that Spike Carapace off the cast of the Spirit Lance. So Batman looking pretty risky in this lane, bot lane, but we'll have to back out as there's no presence of his supports nearby. Whitebeard going to rotate down to convene up with his Nyx Assassin as well. He's going to drop a ward. The Skywrath will, which will see him, but the zip forward from Dragon Fist. The Ancient Seals is way too late from the Skywrath Mage. Will take away a chunk of Dragon Fist health, but no follow-up, and the Cold Embrace. Going to bring him back to full. TY going to be scouted out with the Vendetta as well. Brock's going to miss the stun, however. Mana Burn gets off onto TY, but not willing to dive underneath the stairwell there, so they will back off by the Blood Right, but still, easy pick-off going the way of Summer's Rift. Does give Batman a little bit of space, but really the wave is too far pushed for him to find anything out of that.
Yeah, and the Storm Spirit's damage output at the moment is ridiculous. Even with no major items for him, he had Soul Ring, Treads, Bottle, which is great and all. It's the extra damage from BSJ that's really pulling him through. That extra 49 physical damage is pretty ridiculous. And now if he has an Aegis, he can go pretty much headlong into the NA team with no worries about dying the second time, unless they have a perfectly timed Blood Right, which could end up happening. Smoke up from either side. They catch out Batman. Batman is going to end up going down. I can't tell for how much longer he's going to be able to survive on this map. He's 0-4-0, and I don't see any silver lining for the Phantom Lancer. There's no real advantage. He's gotten the Robe of the Magi since his last death.
Yeah, they aren't finding trades elsewhere, as you mentioned. Easily taking the objective is Summer's Rift there in the Roche Pit, and then getting kills off the back of it as well. No split push being committed elsewhere from the Radiant side. All the Dire tier 1s very healthy at this point, and map control is heavily in Summer's Rift favor. And now, as you mentioned, with a double mana and health pool for the Storm Spirit, they can look to ball up and get a little bit aggressive.
At the moment, this game is snowballing completely out of control. BSJ is joining the fights with the rest of his team. They're taking tier 1 after tier 1. And FTD's ability to fight from behind is very limited. The Witch Doctor and Skywrath Mage are at the point where they can contribute a Paralyzing Cask and an Ancient Seal, and that's about it. They're going to catch the Phantom Lancer again. Batman's going to die for the 5th time this game. Summer's Rift are just not giving him any breathing room. With the extra hug from the Winter Wyvern, they're going to heal up the Storm Spirit, take another tier 2 tower, and allow FTD or pressuring top lane. Queen of Pain can't combat with the pushing power of a Drone Ranger. In fact, what's stopping them here? Why not go high ground?
Yeah, they're going to jump up towards the high ground with the Familiars. They got the active ready, and they're going to heal up the Storm Spirit here. He's still got the Aegis, as mentioned before, and they really are not in fighting shape at this point. They're going to need a massive Blood Right into Sonic Wave to even look at this team fight. Already blink forward from Brax. They're going to blow up the Skywrath Mage, and the Grave Chill out onto Bakuri. He will be brought down to that Soul Assumption. They're not even going to need to dive deeper for more. With the Drow Ranger, they break these structures so quickly that they'll just be content with taking their racks here. And after looking pretty good in the round of 16, already in the quarterfinals, 15 minutes in, FTD have their first lane of racks falling before even the tier 2s in the other lane are down.
Take a look at the net worth graph. That's what a snowball looks like. Summer's Rift have pretty much as good a lead as you could hope for at this time in the game. It's 16 minutes in, they already have a full lane of barracks in their favor, and I don't think FTD can really come back into this. Of course, they're going to be fighting. The stakes on the line are pretty big for either side, but I think Summer's Rift are just performing at a level above.
I'm over here.
Yeah, and with the Drow Visage combo, they really know that FTD doesn't have the capability to fight them right now, and they melt these structures so quickly that they have to commit little to nothing to be there. They don't even have the Wyvern with them. She's now going to rotate in almost with a full Eul Scepter. Actually has the full Eul Scepter in the stash and can bring that over as well. I can set up a Gust or be used on initiating Queen of Pain, and more often than not, feels like FTD have absolutely nothing to deal with Summer's Rift. They just keep themselves well positioned, keep the supports in the backline. Brax looking very tanky at this point and does have the Force Staff available to him as well. So I don't really know who you go on if you're FTD here.
At the moment, FTD need to rely on Summer's Rift diving incredibly deep. And it can't even just be deep. They have an Aegis on Storm. They have so much raw farm lead. It has to be literally into the fountain more or less. Storm Spirit is going to be taking down the tier 3 tower with the help of the Visage Familiars. He even dodges the Blood Right with a little bit of Ball Lightning. He's probably going to lose his Aegis, but that's what it's there for. They'll take out the tier 3, focus down the range barracks. So Sonic Wave does get the Aegis. They're going to blink up to the high ground and Vendetta Strike down the Queen of Pain, melting like butter. They're going to get this ultimate over onto the Witch Doctor, focus him down. Now go for the Bloodseeker. Even with the parts of BKB, he's just not tanky enough to stand. Buyback on the Witch Doctor, but doesn't even matter. GG, well played. Called out by TY. Summer's Rift are going to advance, going on to face Unknown in the semifinals.
For the third time today, Drow Visage working out for Summer's Rift, and maybe because other teams have so many games to play, they haven't been able to get the intel on that. BSJ certainly considered to have a little bit of a limited hero pool, and Drow is kind of one of the heroes he's been adding recently to that pool, and it's been working out with great success for Summer's Rift. So already for the third of fourth games today, they're going to have that workout for them, and sub 20-minute GG comes out from FTD. Next series coming your way. Now Summer's Rift are out of the dangerous best of 1 format into the best of 3 semifinals coming up versus Unknown fairly soon. Grandis, any last thoughts on the matchup? Alrighty guys, so we'll see you coming up next. The BO3 in the semifinals, Summer's Rift versus Unknown, soon to come in the Face It TI5 Open Qualifiers. GG guys.